Welcome back to the Everyday Faith Podcast from Eastside with today's faith-rooted principle.
Good morning, it's Pastor Finley Cutshaw. Today is Wednesday, June the 3rd. Yesterday, I introduced to you the 7 principles of the Judeo-Christian ethic or Judeo-Christian values. And we're talking about these because of our country's 250th anniversary coming up in July. And so we're going to be looking at these because these were principles that guided our forefathers as they prepared to really stake their lives on what would be referred to as the Declaration of Independence. They pledged their wealth and their lives and their sacred honor as they put their names to that document. And you'll see much of that comes from these 7 principles that we're going to talk about. So yesterday we reviewed all of them, and I gave you at least the principle itself and maybe some verses with it. But today we're going to start on this first principle, the dignity of human life. That is principle number 1. Exodus chapter 20, verse number 13, we read, "Thou shalt not kill." In Matthew 22, verse number 39, we read these words, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." The emphasis we see in Scripture is that life is important, that the preservation of human life is important. The Declaration of Independence calls this an unalienable right, and it includes life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unless you've ever lived somewhere where these freedoms are not there, perhaps living maybe in a country that was communist rule, or simply an atheistic type government, or a false deity, false god, false religion was in authority in that government. If you've ever visited a place like that or lived there for any amount of time, I think about some of the people that come to America desiring to escape a place like that, and that was very common in the early days. You may not understand how important a principle like this is, or any of these freedoms that we are guaranteed by the Declaration of Independence. And not the least of which is this life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it goes on to tell us that these are unalienable rights that are endowed to us by our Creator, recognizing that God is the one that has given us this right to life, if you will. And this is the basis of freedom. This is where it all begins. And that is this truth that life is sacred, it has purpose, and it has value. So that first principle, the dignity of human life, based on Scripture, I believe is a very valid principle that we all need to understand today and continue to pray for and live in a way that honors the dignity of human life. God bless.
Thanks for joining us for today's Rooted Principle right here on the Everyday Faith Podcast. If today's conversation has encouraged you, be sure to share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time right here on the Everyday Faith Podcast.